Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm happy to have you with me for this Coffee Lovers book tag. I want to say that Nina from Wrestling with Books tagged me to do it, but if she didn't and I'm just imagining things, please go check her out anyway. I'll have her linked below. The reason I wanted to do this now is because we were out and about and Damon bought me a pumpkin spice signature latte from Dunkin', and I assumed I was going to be getting a tall or a small, whatever they consider their sizes, but no, he brings one bigger than my head. I will never drink all of this, but I thought this would be a fun way to come to you guys for this coffee book tag. Oddly enough, neither Dunkin' or Pumpkin Spice made it to this coffee tag. I'm gonna forgive their creator of this because it is an absolutely amazing book tag. So let's go ahead and get started with the first prompt. Black, name a series that's tough to get into but has hardcore fans. So for me, oh shoot, there's two of them actually. One is the Outlander series. Those books seem so long. I mean, they're chunkers. They're absolutely huge. And so I feel intimidated by starting them, and then because of the time period that they're in, it's not really of interest to me. So it seems like it would be hard for me to get into. But I know a lot of people are going to freak out when I talk about the next series, and that is Harry Potter. Now, while that's easy to read, yes it is, it's just not of interest to me. So it's hard for me to get into because I feel like there are a lot of complex characters that are hard to keep track of in so many different houses, and I'm just like, I can't. I don't think that I'll be able to retain what I've read, and also that a lot of that content really isn't fun to me. I did not mind watching the first like 4 movies, but after that I even lost interest in those. We've tried to do the marathons multiple times and it just really wasn't our jam after the 4th movie. So we still would really like to go to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal, but as far as reading the books, I probably never will be, and I'm not a huge Harry Potter fan. So I also apologize for my look. This is real life. We've got errands to run and things to do. And we're also in the midst of filming some pretty cool stuff. So it is what it is. Prompt number 2, Peppermint Mocha. Name a book that gets more popular during the winter or festive time of year. So I feel like the obvious choice would be A Christmas Carol, which is lovely. We all love the story. I love all of the adaptations of it. I love all of the film adaptations of it. I think that it's just something that will always bring you back to that time of year. However, if you have never read The Christmas Box by Richard Paul Evans, I highly recommend it. It is also a movie. It was adapted into a movie, and I'm so obsessed with that movie around Christmas time. I drive Damon crazy because it is pretty lengthy and it's kind of a slow movie. Richard Thomas is in it and Annette O'Toole is in it, which I love, and I can't remember who plays the woman in there. Do you remember? The Christmas Box. Anyway, if you haven't read the book or if you've never watched the movie, I highly recommend both because it kind of, I like watching it around Thanksgiving too because it just kind of scooches me right on into Christmas, and I don't know, there's some very cozy elements to this movie book, and it's a very sweet story. So if you haven't read those either, I highly recommend them. Prompt number 3, hot chocolate. What is your favorite children's book? Oh gosh, Damon said his favorite is The Cat in the Hat. I'm sorry for the bouncing, we're exiting. I did a collab hosted by Nina from Wrestling with Books where a lot of us shared our favorite children's books. So I do have a video I will link below for you guys if you are interested in checking that out at all. It was a lot of fun. I filmed part of it with Michaela and the rest of it by myself. It was just, vlogging has been very hard here in the past 7 or 8 months, and I'm sure that it absolutely shows in my content quality, and I apologize for that. But
It'll pick back up in the next couple of months.
yeah, it will definitely get better in the next few months. And I don't know. Let's see. Favorite children's book. If I had to just pick one, I don't know that I could. There are so many. And when I think childhood now, I think, what do I love enjoying with Michaela? And all of that stuff, like I said, I shared in that video. So, shoot, I don't know. Favorite children's book. Let me pause on that for a second. I read a lot of the Wonderful World of Disney books. I read a lot of those. I was that kid who got excited when the Highlights magazine came in the mail. I loved the Boxcar Children. I loved the Babysitter's Club. And there was one book, it was my first book I ever read, and I don't think that I mentioned this in that vlog, so I'll go ahead and give you that one. And it was called The Christmas Mouse. And I just remember it being my first book ever that I read, and I was 4 years old. I started reading at 4, and I've always enjoyed reading, so I don't think I shared it in that vlog, so I wanted to share it with you guys today. It is super sweet. Number 4, Double Shot of Espresso. Name a book that kept you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. So the book I chose for this is one that I recently read, and it is The End of Her by Sherry Lapina. I've mentioned how much I love this author and her ability to tell a story. This book was amazing, and it was told from multiple perspectives, and it had me questioning if anyone was telling the truth in this entire story. It made me question if maybe Sherry Lapina was writing this as the main female character of this, potentially could have been dreaming all of this, or I was thinking, is she going to wake up one day and she's imagined this in a mental break or something? I've read a book like that. I believe it was called Unravel by Callie Reed, and it did some crazy twists like that at the end. I'm like, oh man, please don't tell me this is another book like that. But it was really great. It followed a woman and her husband. They had twins. I mentioned this in a library haul, and I don't know which video is coming up first. So I did mention a little bit more about that in a library haul, where this husband and wife have twin girls. They're very colicky, they're fussy. Every scene that they're with the kids, they're crying, and it's annoying. But the storyline is that her husband's first wife had passed away. It was an accidental death at his hand, and his current wife didn't know in the manner in which his ex-wife passed away, and in comes a best friend of his wife that passed away, and she's slinging all these accusations and blackmailing, and it's just a crazy ride. So if you like thrillers and psychological thrillers and domestic thrillers, I highly recommend you pick that up as well. Number 5, Starbucks. Name a book you see everywhere. There are 2 books that I see all the time. I see everybody talking about them, everyone sharing them on BookTube, Bookstagram. They're everywhere in the stores, and those books are Daisy Jones and the Six and Verity. I will say, I did not like Verity at all, and I know it gets so much hype. I did not enjoy it at all. I think I only gave it 1 star, which might be super shocking to so many, but that is not a book that I would recommend. It was very harsh on the language, which probably was the point in which I disconnected from the book, because it was constant swearing, and you heard it too, because I was listening to it on audiobook, and Damon was with me, and it was playing in the car, and he was like, oh my gosh, it was really bad. And I'm noticing more and more movies and books, they're just throwing it in for shock value, and it's really not necessary. I feel like someone who swears a lot is not that intelligent, and if these people are selling bestsellers and they're just slinging nasty words constantly, I'm not going to support that, because I want to support an intelligent storyteller, you know? That's just my 2 cents. And like I said, the other one is Daisy Jones and the Six. I haven't read it, but it does sound very interesting. I know Robin from Oh Hello Robin has read it, and so has Lindsay from Lindsay B. And I think that it is from like an interview perspective, like it's more an interview format. So I would be interested in reading that. I think Robin said that she liked it more in audiobook form because the different voices with the interview. So I think that I might try to do that. I do have an Audibles account and I'm enjoying that so much. So I will see if that is available when I get my next credit. Number 6, That Hipster Coffee Shop. Give a book by an indie author a shout out. Now I wish that I could do that, and I don't have a book to share for this prompt, but that's where I want you to do the homework. Let me know in the comments below if you have a favorite indie author that you enjoy. Is there a standalone book that you have loved that I should be reading? I absolutely would love to support indie authors. I thought that I was reading an indie author, but it turns out it wasn't. So there's a lot of those little cozy mysteries on Amazon, and I have enjoyed those for about 2 years. I read them at night. I read a lot of them when I was going through chemo because it would help kind of calm my brain down. I was on so much steroids that it kept me wired all the time at night. So I suffered insomnia so very bad, and it was something that kind of calmed me down and helped me get some better sleep. And also I wasn't keeping lights on and keeping anyone awake. So I started enjoying, I think this is like Big Shop Cupcake Mysteries. The first one is Vanilla Vengeance by Molly Maple. So I was starting to read that series, and some of these are free on Amazon and some they're $2. And I assumed with those costs that it was potentially an indie author, but it isn't. So silly me. And the same thing for Chelsea Thomas. She and her husband, her name is Chelsea and her name is Thomas, so they co-write these books. I think they have multiple series, but one is the Apple Orchard series, which is what I'm reading now. I assumed that they were indie authors. However, none of them are. When I went to go do some research for this to see if I had read any recently, there was nothing. So I felt really bad. So let me know if you have enjoyed a indie book in the last couple of years. Number 7, oops, I accidentally got decaf. Name a book you were expecting more from. First of all, I will never drink decaf, but the book I thought of immediately was Such a Quiet Place. I can't remember the name. Miranda, is that right? Miranda, I don't know. I kept thinking, what the heck is the point of this book? It had such promise in the first, I don't know, 6 chapters, and it started annoying me so badly, and I finished the book thinking I wasted 8 hours or 6 hours of my life, and what was the point? We never did figure out the point. It was awful. So I feel like it was just, I think it was one that was really hyped on Bookstagram and BookTube, and I fell for it, and I felt like an idiot. But if you've read it and you love the book, let me know. What did I miss? Because I felt like there was something missing through the whole thing. The Perfect Blend. A book or series that was both bitter and sweet, but ultimately satisfying. This one was hard too because I don't typically read sweet books that are also, I don't know, they either are or they're not, you know? Like my little cupcake cozy mysteries are super sweet, but there's nothing really bitter, I guess, about them. So the book that I chose for this may not even fit the prompt well, but we're gonna use it anyway. And it's time for more pumpkin spice before it gets too watered down.
Take a drink of
It's also August, what, 23rd? August 23rd. And I'm glad that pumpkin's out, but I always get myself my very first pumpkin spice latte for the year. I always get it hot, but the last couple of years I can't do it. I'm just too hot. I don't need a hot flash if I'm out and about. Now if I'm at home, it's okay. But they even got the large original mocha, iced mocha something. I feel like it's gonna spill chocolate on my shirt. I can definitely taste the cocoa powder in that.
One like it was last time.
It's actually really good. I bit my lip. Alright, back to the book now that I've tasted both coffees, and I have a crazy mixture going on right now. The book I chose was Cape Refuge by Terry Blackstock. You have this very sweet Christian family. There is a husband and wife duo. He is a pastor's wife, and there are 2 daughters, and one is married. And they all have this refuge. They take people in who are trying to get a fresh start in their life, and they may have been incarcerated, they may have, you know, done some serious jail time, but they've turned their lives around. They are now born again Christians, and they are like redeeming the things in the past. And there is a very tragic accident. There is a very tragic accident in which the pastor and his wife is murdered in a very horrific way. Now, it doesn't go through all of the detailing because she is a Christian author. It doesn't give a lot of gore. You get the gist of what's happened, and it's not pleasant, but I wouldn't say it's like full-on slasher drama, you know, it's none of that. But that happens, and the girls are basically thrust into figuring out who did it, and then there is accusations and an arrest made on the girl, one of the daughter's husbands, because he was seen to have had a argument with the parents that day, I believe. It's been a while since I've read it, so if I get the thing out of order, I'm sorry. But the girls are like sisters, kind of bump heads a little bit. The other sister believes that her sister's husband has done this and he's responsible and he's got to pay. And then there are just so many secrets that just keep unfolding, like layers of an onion just keep unraveling in this entire book, and it's so good. There are more in that series, and I really want to get them at some point. And at the end we find out obviously what happened, but it is sweet in some moments because you get to hear about some of the characters and how their lives have turned around. It's bitter, obviously, because of the murder. It was senseless, it didn't need to happen, and could have definitely been avoided and handled differently. As open and honest, as trusting as this pastor and his wife are, it just should have never happened. So with that being said, I feel like that did fit the bill, and I was very satisfied on the very last page of how it ended, and I look forward to reading the rest in that series. That's gonna do it for this very fun coffee themed book tag. It was absolutely wonderful. I will link the original creator of this book tag below, as well as Nina's channel. And if you would like to do this coffee book tag, then by all means, go ahead and grab yourself a cup of coffee and film it. I would love to see it. Make sure to let me know when you do. You're officially tagged by me. But I would absolutely love to know what you're reading below, so make sure you let me know that. And if you've not yet subscribed, please take a second to do that before you leave. It helps me out so much, and I appreciate every single one of you. So I hope that you have a blessed day, and I'll see you next time. I feel like I'm a news reporter. I gotta stop that. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.